I drove to the play last night, and I was very worried because I have my daughter, Olive, she's 12, and I was thinking about sending her to theater camp this summer. We worry so much about the decisions we're going to make for our kids, as if every single one will have an impact that we don't know what will come out of that decision. And then I was driving through the theater district, and I'm like, there's a Barrymore Theater here. Come on, if this isn't a sign, I don't know what is. Why don't I try theater camp? And I go and I sit in this play with all of this concern in my heart. And the play starts, and you start with this story about these two pirates. Who are going to end up raising a little girl. And it's really about no matter who you are or what your background is or your baggage or your history.
Or if you're a pirate.
Or if you're a pirate. Yeah. But the writing and the performing was so beautiful, and it was the sign in the universe I've been looking for, which is we just don't know what's going to happen, but we try our best going into it.
So are you going to let your daughter be a pirate?
I think she might already be. Okay. She's more piratey than conformist proper girl. Mm-hmm. And you grew up, with listening to show tunes and records and operas.
There was no hope for me. I was destined for this line of work.
How did your parents do that with you?
I think it was a combination of intense love for the things they loved. Like, my parents both worked a lot. They loved show tunes and cast albums and Latin music, and a good amount of benign neglect. A good amount, they worked a lot. I saw my parents on the weekends, and so it was just me and my sister, who's in the front row right there.
Oh my God!
Okay, so...
You don't even know. I've been waiting to meet you. I heard you were here.
Drew, I love you. And my love is a candle to the blowtorch that is my sister's love for you. My Christmas present was to bring her to the show. This is my Christmas present right now.
Sorry. I'm so honored to meet you. I heard you were here. And Andrew, your family's here,
My family's here, too.
I'm so excited. Hi, guys! How are you? So your parents fostered that love for you. What do you think would have happened if you wanted to do something that was not in their world or realm?
Well, what I wanted to do wasn't in their world. My dad did not, no one in my family worked in show business at all. They just loved music. It's funny, I think kids pay attention to what, more than you think. And so my dad was like, you're very smart, be a lawyer. But I would see him blast the Dirty Dancing soundtrack on a loop in the car. We couldn't even get to Be My Little Baby because he would just play I've Had the Time of My Life over and then press rewind and then and back again. And my mom would cry to Les Miserables in the car, and I didn't pay attention to what they were saying. I paid attention to, I want to move people like that. I want to make people feel like that.
Okay, Nick, what did your parents do that helped you become who you are?
I think they were encouraging of me in whatever I did, and when I graduated college and moved to New York and was like, I want to be a comedian, I call them skeptically supportive. They came to all the shows and they prayed that I had a backup plan. But they always come out. And since I started, little black box theaters in East Village over 20 years ago, they were at all those shows. And I think that's the main thing that you can ask for parents is just you just show up for your kids and hope that they find their passion.
This is huge. It is. Show up. Andrew, you always talk about your family. We always talk about, your kids. What do you think about, with your kids?
Well, with the pirate thing, that I get very emotional when I do it because it does, I don't know, it just sort of lends itself to, all of the things that I am afraid of. I'm terrified that, I'm like, is this the thing that's going to send these kids into therapy?
Yes.
Will this be the thing that I remember? I remember, much to my mother's horror, very specific things that she said to me that she has no recollection of. When she told me that the reset button on the outlet in the bathroom would set the house on fire. She doesn't remember saying that. I was just like a dumb kid who was like, what's that? And then she just made up something to shut me up. But I remembered. So I also kind of have to remember that when I talk to Tuck's kids sometimes.
But we, in our ego, and I think the pressures of society scares us into not allowing ourselves to realize we are learning too.
Yeah.
And the way that you walked through love in this play, it felt like it wasn't afraid to show that we are students in life.
Well,
we are not know-it-all teachers. We are trying to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
It's the amazing thing what, Simon Rich, who wrote all of these pieces.
And it is so
together.
good. You guys have to see it. It's the best play. I
really
laughed. I cried.
And that's all credit to Simon and our director, Alex Timbers, who's so brilliant.
It's masterclass. And I was like, oh, I'm in an environment where I'm just able to laugh and cry out loud because everybody else is too.
Yeah. Well, people were very relaxed last night.
Yeah. And also, like the first night, Alex Timbers came by and said, "There's people making out in the audience." We're like, we're telling stories about love. So
There were these people in the front row. I'm just gonna say.
No, you gotta tell it.
So,
Tell it.
Go
so
on.
there are these people sitting in the front row. It's 3 people, and I'm watching them during the show. And there's this incredible music throughout the show. It's the music of Magnetic Fields,
Which I love.
as performed by the Banksons, and it's like this. It's really. So each piece is sort of like there's this interlude of music in between, and Alex described it as sort of like what the Simon and Garfunkel is to The Graduate. It's this sort of soundtrack to it. It's really beautiful. And these 3 people are kind of like hugging and kissing and like kind of like all over each other. And I was like, oh, there's like a polycule sitting right in front of us. Like
Thruples are trending.
it's a thruple vibe. And after the show, we're outside and we're signing autographs and taking pictures with people. And I see the thruple, and they're like, I was like, oh, you guys love Magnetic Fields, because they were really kind of in it with each other. And they're like, oh, yeah, but we're just excited. We're dropping our daughter at college tomorrow. So
it's not a thruple.
it was not a thruple. It was a father and mother and child.
Just
Okay, there's so much more to discuss. It's hard to go away, but we'll be right back.